So 5 years ago, there was a reason why I started this movement. And the truth then is the truth now. That we need to champion our narrative. We need to champion the truth around what we do and who we are.
There's a sweet spot with a gun. You know, too heavy and it's a burden to walk with. Too light and you whipping it.
Why is the project so important to the hunting community?
I think it's not only important. I think it's vital. I think it's just in time.
It's like snakes and ladders. You guys are climbing the ladder, and then somebody does something stupid, and you just slide down.
That is such an amazing analogy, snakes and ladders.
Yeah.
You know, ivory, in my opinion, was the plastic of its age. Okay.
The expenses are going up. It goes a long way with families. We have families that do need it.
Let me close this door because I have a little wiener dog. What? Are you laughing because I said wiener?
I'm really glad you finished the sentence out. I'm sorry, I heard the first half. What are we doing here today?
You're telling the whole world. Give me a sound check there.
Yep, how's that, Rob?
Sounds good. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Bring that up just a little bit. Let's get that situated right there. There we go. All professional now. Huh? Graeme, Rushworth, Victoria, Australia. How many people live in Rushworth?
About 1,000.
1,000 people. Are you the most famous person in Rushworth?
No way.
You've been in, how many newspapers have you been in?
Quite a few, but I take a lot of photos of other people that are in the field and game and of the various things we do.
And why are you actually in the newspaper, Graeme?
We do a lot of conservation work around the Rushworth district in some of the wetlands. So some of the Corop wetlands are some of the best, well, they were the best in Victoria.
Corop?
I sort of call them Corop, so they're just out from Rushworth. Sort of what would we be northwest of Rushworth.
So what would have been the, why are there really good wetlands up here? Just a good water table? They're connected to rivers? What's the situation?
There's a lot of runoff that comes out of the Roo Forest and runs down through some different creeks, Wynalda Creek and Canella Creek, and they run out into the Corop wetlands.
And that still happens today or not so much?
That still happens. There's still runoff, but a lot of those wetlands have been overgrown with suckers and that type of material. So they're very overgrown and hard to look through. I'm probably lucky that I can remember as a boy.
You grew up here?
Yep. Yeah.
Duck hunted from a little kid?
Duck hunter from a little kid.
Dad was a duck hunter?
Dad was a duck hunter.
Mom was a duck hunter?
Mum wasn't a duck hunter. But when I was growing up, if Dad wasn't going hunting, I would go with the guy from down the road who was the boot fixer. That's a long time ago. He mended boots and shoes.
Would you say that the duck hunting population around Rushworth has decreased?
Yes, definitely decreased.
Why? Just
I
gun
think-
laws and stuff like that?
Yeah,
or
I think it's gun laws and people came back from the war, and Rushworth Main Street would be full of duck hunters and a lot of family connections and people who they lived in the trenches together and fought together, and then they built friendships, and the local people would invite those people from that they'd been away to war with to come and shoot ducks with them and have their recreational activity around here.
would you say if we polled Rushworth today, 100 people, we sat in your pie shop that I sat in this morning, and we asked everybody that came in the pie shop whether they'd be pro duck hunting or against duck hunting, what do you think we would see?
I think in Rushworth now, we would probably be 50-50.
We're rural here. It's not like we are. You're 1,000 people in rural, middle of nowhere, frickin' Victoria, Australia, and you're saying 50% of the people that are in a rural country town would be against hunting?
They quite possibly would because they're not involved. We've probably changed that through the work that we've done with the Rushworth Field and Game, and we put articles in the paper and we do the press stuff, and we're trying to change how they view us, and we have changed that by the work we've done in taking over the tennis court building and redoing that building and bringing it back to life. And through that, we've gained people have volunteered and given us stuff. Like we've got the building has been given to us, and then people have given us money to buy the paint, and
because they're seeing the benefits
Yes.
of
Yes.
the activity of hunting.
Yes.
Wherein before, probably, when were you born? Like 20s? Sorry, I thought one of your youngsters was here. He missed the joke. Back in the day, though, you would have expected folks, and here's what I'm seeing. There wasn't really a need in 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s to really talk about what benefit came from hunting, i.e. sugar gliders in a nest, rosellas in a nest, putting up nest boxes, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Nobody cared then. It was more of a, as you talked about, was more of a recreational, social, societal bonding component from duck hunting.
Yep. I can remember I would get up to go shooting on a Saturday morning, and you would get up and you would drive down the road where I live, and every second or third house, the lights would be on, and you could look across and go, oh, that's Bill Smith. He'll be going to his little spot wherever he goes and shoots, and oh, that's right, we saw him 2 days ago, and he said his brother was coming from Melbourne to go with him.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas times have changed now. It's more expensive to buy a firearm. It's more expensive for ammunition, so the young people don't get the opportunity to experience it. And I've got grandkids, and once they experience it, they want to become involved. And
would you say the 50% of the Rushworth, if they said they would be against hunting, would you know why they would be against it?
Probably because they're not aware of it enough.
It wouldn't be. Would it? How many of the 50% in your mind would be negative connotations? Versus, I just don't have an opinion.
There would be there would probably be 10% of people that are dead against hunting, and it's probably never been exposed to it. And the other 30 or 40% are probably what they read in the newspaper about all the bad things.
Well, and that's what you're changing. Like, I was joking a little bit that you're the most famous person here because of how many times you're in the newspaper, but that's part and parcel of it nowadays.
Yeah.
It's part and parcel of the narrative, right? You get people's opinions are shaped by what they read, what they see.
Yes.
That's why I exist.
So we've got a population in Rushworth of 1,000 people, and we've got 1,000 people that follow our Rushworth Field and Game Facebook page.
Okay.
So that's how many people, not necessarily from Rushworth, but from other spots. They're the ones that actually follow us, not necessarily live in the town, but there are farmers and there are other people that see our stuff who may not necessarily follow our page, but they read the articles in the paper, and you'll be walking down the street and they'll go, oh, I saw that article the other day. Gee, that was really good. Oh, you've got the school kids involved. Oh, you've got,
Exactly.
So some of those people would, they see it and they pick up on how good it is.
Well, when we drop videos around this, and I've said, I was actually, when I told you earlier, I was like, yeah, we've done a video, and I was texting with my social media content person. She was like, I don't remember that. So she obviously hasn't posted it yet. So I've done a whole video on what you guys have done and what you do in the field. But there's smart strategies that we can employ. I won't allude to them on this, but we could legitimately touch every single person within a 50-kilometer radius of Rushworth that has Facebook. We could get something in front of them.
Yep.
Let me say that.
Yep. And look, the more people are exposed to what we're doing, the better response we get. If people aren't aware of what we're doing, they sort of, they're not aware.
So what are you doing? We've been talking so far, and I haven't even introduced you. Introduce yourself.
Graeme Wall. I'm the Conservation Officer for Rushworth Field and Game.
And what is Field and Game?
Field and Game's been in existence since the 1950s. It was formed. You probably should get this from the Field and Game people.
That's okay.
It was formed by hunters that could see a need for some sort of
Habitat protection,
Yep,
wildlife protection,
yes,
wildlife
get everyone
conservation.
get everyone together.
Yep.
And at that stage, the Pacific black duck were under threat. Their numbers were dropping, and they wanted to get together and put funding and put money into buying some wetlands, buying duck stamps, and being able to improve habitat. And a lot of it's about habitat. It's not about
Has to be. Habitat's the key.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes.
So as the Rushworth Field in Game Australia, you guys operate like a chapter, essentially, like a branch
Yep.
of Field and Game writ large.
Yes. Yep.
And tell me some of the things that you do.
Before we do that, I'll talk about our membership.
Yeah.
Since we started to do the conservation area, our membership has probably grown 50%.
What do you mean
So-
conservation area?
Where we do nesting boxes, so we do
The conservation focus of what
Yes,
you guys
yes,
do.
Yep.
Yep.
So we've been doing nest boxes all around the district. Then we do nest boxes along the rail trail, Warringah Rail Trail. So we've got sugar glider boxes, we've got parrot boxes, we've got micro bat boxes that were put up along that rail trail.
And none of this. You're a duck hunting organisation.
We're a duck hunting organisation who do conservation work. And we've done partnerships with the Rushworth Golf Club where we've got boxes. We put up parrot boxes and we end up with sugar gliders in those boxes. So then we looked at it and went, well, we better build some sugar
And
glider
ring-tailed
boxes.
possums that we saw today,
Yes,
and
yeah.
galahs and all
Galahs,
sorts of
yes.
things.
All sorts of things are using those boxes. And of course, we've been able to get the Hope students from the Rushworth P12 on board.
What is the Hope student?
The Hope students.
What does Hope stand for?
What is it?
Hands-on practical experience. See?
Aidan did it properly before. I
Yeah,
didn't do it.
exactly. Hands-on practical experience in which these kids get pulled out of school and they get given practical experience
Yes.
in all sorts of different fields.
Yes. So we've had them building next boxes. We're about to hopefully get a grant where we can have them building more hen houses.
Yeah, you just got a grant. I just read in the newspaper that you got a grant from a community bank.
Yes. Yeah. We got one from the Bendigo Bank, Community Bank.
Now, was that advertised or you just asked, do you have...
Well, we had to put in an application, but
Okay.
they had come forward. They'd seen what we'd done with the building and the work we'd done there, and they'd seen some of the hen house stuff, and they actually came to us and said, you should be putting in for a grant. We reckon we'll be able to help you with something.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And that was
So-
$1,800?
Yep, $1,800.
So how many nest boxes does $1,800 build you?
It was part of the bigger plan,
Okay.
that grant, and part of the bigger plan is that we'll be able to manufacture our own hen houses in Rushworth. We had been building nest boxes, but we needed a few tools. We needed some fine wire that wraps around the coconut fibre that we use in the hen houses. So they were able to assist us with that, and we've been able to do some hen house construction. But we are hoping on another grant, and we'll see if that comes through, which is almost $5,000.
Okay.
And then we'll be able to make another 40 hen houses and get them out onto wetlands.
So what do you think it costs per hen house in your estimation? $100?
I'd be guessing
150?
I'd be guessing 100 to 150, yes.
Okay.
And the more material you put in, and we've had trouble with crows, so I've had to build wooden ends.
Mm-hmm.
And we're very lucky at Rushy. We've got some very talented people that have been able to do some of the woodwork for us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been very helpful.
How many hen houses, hen boxes, sugar glider boxes do you think you've got out?
All up, I would say, I'd have to look at it, but there's probably 150.
See, this is the issue, and I have it with you. I have it with Trent Lean. I have it with everybody. You should know exactly how many boxes you have out, because I've asked Trent Lean. I've said, Trent, how many nest boxes, nest tubes are there out in the landscape? It would be a phenomenal statistic, right? He was like, I don't know, thousands. I was like, that's not good enough. You need to tell me 4,982.
Maybe because of the system when we put them on the app that we use to track them. We have at different times, we call them hen houses, but in other situations we might call them
Yeah, but it's still a dot on the app.
Yes, it is.
So how many dots do you have? Aiden, how many dots do you have in the app? Come on, guys. Here, take his phone from him and start counting. So by the end of this podcast, we know how many dots we have out in the Rushworth landscape. Because to me, that's something that, statistic-wise, is impactful. And then you multiply that. You say, okay, well, one of our nest tubes, so these ones out here, produce 4 ducks a year on average. Maybe there's 2 nests per season. And now you start multiplying that out. How many ducks do you think these duck hunters, this duck hunting organization, that really at its core loves to shoot ducks and kill ducks?
2 years ago, we would have had in excess of 400 that we had in our hen houses.
400 ducks.
Yep. That bred.
How many ducks do you think you guys shot that season as a collective here?
As a collective from our members,
Yeah.
it would probably be lucky to be 80 to 100.
Mm-hmm.
Because some of our people that do our conservation work don't even hunt.
Yeah.
They do it because they like the conservation side
element of
the
it.
whole thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So tell me, Rushworth Field and Game here in Rushworth, 1,000 people. Are any of the green organisations in Rushworth?
There are some green organisations, people in town that are members of some organisations.
Are they doing any of this kind of work?
No. They will come and look at the bird life, and that's part of their, they like to come and do that. And we try and...
But are they physically doing pragmatic conservation work on the ground?
No, not really. Like we're not only putting up nest boxes, we're advocating for wetlands too. We've just had a recent meeting with Goulburn Murray Water, Parks, Deka, people from the Tungarung group at some of the crop wetlands because there's been some damage done to structures out there. There's wetlands out there that are overgrown by suckers that badly need some work.
What's a sucker?
So a sucker is a seed that's grown in the wetland, and then it's just taken off, and they're now as thick as, in some spots you're lucky to see 20 or 30 metres.
Oh, okay.
They've just grown and grown and
overgrown the wetland.
Overgrown the wetland. Whereas before you could see in the wetland, you could see the big trees that were there and just a weed bed on the surface.
Yep.
And now in some spots you can't see very far at all.
Yeah,
And we end up with a black water event all the time.
Okay. Yep.
So the leaves fall off, the fresh water flows in, and within 3 months
it turns over.
It's gone into black water.
Yeah.
And then the birds just leave it. They'll be there for a start because it's fresh water, and then as soon as it turns to black water, all the birds leave, whether they be ducks or whatever. So we're trying to advocate.
So what would stop it turning into black water? A flow of some sorts.
A flow, or you've got to have a clearing of the suckers so that you can get air to the water and you can get some of the leaves, because the leaves just fall off the trees, and it's not very long once the water gets there that it just turns black.
Yeah, and you also just need a little bit of wind to turn that water over a little bit.
Yes,
and oxygenate it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But because the suckers are there, you don't get that oxygen level.
Yeah. Yeah. So are there? But for instance, this wetland that we're at right now, that you can see sort of behind us. What was your involvement here? Because this is a private wetland.
Yep, private wetland. So we were looking around for some spots to put hen houses and nest boxes, and the farmer that owns this said, "Yep, you can do that."
What was the farmer's reason for why he wanted to restore this wetland?
He is very environmental sort of background.
Focused, yeah.
He was a councillor still is for the local shire.
Okay.
And he's been involved with water through different processes.
And what you were telling me earlier, it's not just a simple, easy process to get water into this wetland. You've
got to get environmental water, and there's only a certain amount of environmental water
That's available to
That's
be
a-
used,
Yes.
and you have to petition for it.
Yep.
And
He had to put in for it. So there was a brolga bred on this wetland.
and there has to be some sort of endangered species, vulnerable species that water is going to benefit. It can't just be generally for wetland habitat enhancement.
You've got to have the contacts to be able to get environmental water.
Mm.
So some
Enough said.
farmers have now started to be able to find that water and that it is available. So there are a few more projects come along, and Field and Game as a whole have been trying to help, find some of that
We
water.
were talking about it earlier in the vehicle. It just seems to be such a great avenue, specifically around environmental flows. For instance, all those wetlands that I saw up in Mildura, the Cardross system, the Meridian system, all of those used to be full of water because of the irrigation system for the wineries up there and the grapes. It was flood irrigated, so water would just flow through the landscape and collect in these depressions. And so you had multiple benefits for biodiversity. Obviously duck hunting. And they found like a little fish, the Murray hardhead up there. But now those systems are all dry, will only fill up in heavy rainfall years because of drip irrigation. You would think that there would be benefits, again, if the environmental flows were available, but it seems like they are, because it's not like the Murray is low of water, it's full of water. And so it wouldn't, I just don't, in my brain, I'm trying to figure out, like, why isn't just putting water into wetland systems, swamp systems, just a good thing at the end of the day, just writ large?
Yep. I agree with all that. And if we look at our local system here that comes out of Lake Eildon, they will flush water down the Goulburn River. And it goes down the Goulburn and then flows into the Murray and then heads towards Mildura. We've been pushing there are access areas like the Wynalda Creek where water could be allowed, environmental water allowed to flow down that creek and into some of the wetlands, because there's one tree swamp, there's two tree swamp, there's Wallingo swamp. Instead of that, Goulburn Murray water are harvesting that water when there's a rain, and that water goes into the channel system and ends up being used for irrigation.
Mm-hmm.
Before the channel system was made, that water would flow down the creek. Whereas the channel system are there and they collect the water and run it down the channel. So there's a lot of water issues
It's
out there.
almost like an environmental minimum flow argument needs to be made for wetlands.
Yes.
And just like as a general ecosystem, regardless, yes, they're going to have fish benefits. Yes, they're going to be vegetation benefits. Yes, they're going to be bird benefits. And yes, ancillarily, there's going to be a duck hunting benefit.
Yep.
But just to, restore wetlands on the landscape, man, it's in my brain, I'm here and I'm going, number one, this is a way flatter landscape than I expected.
Yep.
Two, way more heavily agricultured landscape than I expected. And so you would expect things like this, these wetlands, the Cardross systems and whatnots, are wetland ecosystems that are just like, man, we don't have many of these left in this upper flat country of Victoria. So why would you not want to put some sort of water flows, some sort of environmental flows into these systems to keep them in their natural states?
Yep. If we get time, and I'll work on this afternoon, I'd love to take you out to 1 tree and 2 tree, which are just big flat areas, and also show you some of the sucker growth in some of those wetlands, and you can really see it. They've just been overgrown, and it's just.
Who owns those wetlands?
So they're owned by the government, managed by Parks Victoria, but unfortunately Parks Victoria haven't got the people and the resources to properly manage those areas. They call Victoria the broke state, and unfortunately there were 180 people put off Parks Victoria 12 months ago.
Huh. Laid off.
And there's more cuts still going on now. People have to apply for their for their own positions again because
So
they've
in that situation, why wouldn't a volunteer, hey, Field and Game Australia, we want to take over the management of this place. It's not going to cost you a dime. Work.
probably because the biggest thing for Field and Game would be same thing, resources, but
Yeah, but you have access to other resources.
Yeah.
You know, there's a philanthropic element to Field and Game and wet and whatnot.
look, there's probably opportunities there for it, but there's a lot of government bureaucracy about the whole wetland system.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So what's next for Rushworth? You guys have been doing an outstanding job. You got my attention in the middle of this tiny little 1,000-person town, and you sent me a bunch of stuff over email and all the things that are happening because of you. You know, the Brolga chicks. Whoa, what was that? Explain what a Brolga is.
They're a big grey bird. That's
Like a sandhill crane, I've been told.
Yes. Yep.
Super endangered.
Down here, there's probably, as a youngster, I can always remember there were probably 13 or 14 in the
Oh, so not.
in
Yeah.
the crop area, but their numbers have increased. They've had a couple of good breeding seasons, and the same with all water birds. It depends on the season.
Yeah.
We will get a wet year, and everything flourishes.
Okay.
And the only issue is some of the water areas just aren't as pristine as what they used to be. But there are Brolgas that are bred on this wetland here on private. There's another one not far from us where a Brolga bred on private. But because the major wetlands have been overgrown with suckers, the Brolga, a big bird, likes to be able to land where it's
big
feet.
open wetland
Yes,
country.
yes.
Yeah.
They don't like it coming in where there's trees and suckers and they can break a leg. They would just avoid those areas. They used to be in some of the wetlands where the suckers are, and they're now not.
Has
there.
anybody done any wetland restoration around here to remove the suckers?
Yes.
Okay.
Field and Game have in what we call Mansfield Swamp.
Yep.
It's probably 30 years ago. They had a project. They cut some off with chainsaws. They cut some off with axes. And they also had a bulldozer in and did some work in there checking it, taking them out.
Yep.
Hopefully, if we can get some discussion going, they might be able to now, because the suckers are bigger, they might be able to open it up as a wood coop area and get people to go there and get their wood and then utilise the wood.
Yeah, brilliant.
And get rid of it
Absolutely.
out of that wetland.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely
So,
good sustainable use of a resource.
Yep, because we've been working and meeting and talking to some of the government departments, that has definitely come up in discussion. And we look forward maybe in a 1 to 5 year time of some of that coming and happening.
Yeah. Well, keep us up to date in terms of what you're doing and any grants that you get, okay?
Yep.
I want to know about them.
I will, certainly.
And keep up the great work here, man. It's amazing
and look,
stuff.
Yeah, we're very lucky at Rushy. We've got some people that have come along and joined up with us who aren't necessarily hunters, and we've got some people that are very good with timber skills and everything, and we've been able to utilise those skills. And of course, we've had the kids from the Hope program come along and help us as well.
Yeah, amazing stuff. Yeah, I really like it. That's why I'm here.
Yep.
So thank you, bud. Thank you, Graeme.
No worries.